If we tell China, sorry, we're not going to pay you, okay, the economic ramifications on us are beyond measure, okay? We can't declare bankruptcy and survive as a country, okay? We just can't, okay? What's going to happen is we're going to monetize that debt, okay? China has $1 trillion. We owe them $1 trillion, $886 billion or something, okay, plus interest. By the way, you remember the tips I mentioned? China and India are now demanding all their debt to us be in tips. So they see it coming, okay? So if, where was I going with that? Oh, they owe us $1 trillion, okay? We're just going to print up $1 trillion and pay them with it. That's monetizing the debt. Each one of those dollars is going to be worth less, but who cares? Okay, we'll give you a wheelbarrow full of money, and there you go. Have a nice day. Try to spend that on a wheelbarrow. That will hurt us big time, but not like saying, "Sorry, I'm not going to pay you. Here's the keys."
But that puts the U.S. government basically in the same league as the Weimar Republic in Germany in the 20s, Zimbabwe, all sorts of countries that have had basically taken the printing press to print their way out of problems. The end result of all of those, in the case of the Weimar Republic, the end result was that my mother was a German refugee in World War II. As my mother likes to say, the end result of hyperinflation in Germany in the 20s when she was a child was that you had they elected Hitler. People forget that Hitler was elected, and the reason he was elected is people were tired of high inflation, they were tired of a bad economy, the stock market crashed, and everything was bad, and they said, and Hitler came along and said, "I know how to solve your problems." That's a pretty scary thought, but again, if you look at the way people lived in Germany in the 20s, you can see why that was attractive. Okay? I mean, it's a horrible thing that, a horrible person and everything that he was, but you could see the political logic of that. And I think that's something that we have to be very concerned about.
What happens if you can't create the jobs, which was just happening, and you can't drill for oil, you can't do this and this because the government keeps telling you this? Our government's going to break us, period.
Well, in all fairness, and that's partially why you're here.
Yeah,
We're broke now.
Okay.
We're broke. Okay. And the government isn't going to fix anything. It's going to be the people that fix it. And you've heard me say on the radio before, this is pre-revolution time. Okay. And I don't mean pitchforks and torches, although it would not surprise me. Okay. It could get bloody because these people have no regard for us anymore. None. Okay? I said on the show, let's dig the Potomac a little deeper and push it out past the 3-mile limit. Just make sure Congress is in session.
In relation to all the housing bubble and everything and the current recession, how important was the Community Reinvestment Act towards all that?
That's the first domino.
Is that what caused it? It wasn't a complete intrusion by the government? Is that
here's what, I can answer that over an hour. Okay? But Carter started the CRA. It really didn't affect much of anything until Clinton got in office. Okay? And it made what we call, here's a mortgage, ninja loans. You ever heard of a ninja loan?
No.
No income, no job, no assets. Okay? And by the way, we'll finance 115% of the value of the home, and we'll make up the value of the home.
125.
Oh, 125? Did you bring papers with you?
Yeah. Get that deal now?
Yeah. That was phase 1 of the issue. Phase 2 of the issue is if you have a subprime loan, okay, this is a math question. If you have a subprime loan and it defaults, what's your default rate? Not a trick question. 100%. If you have 2 and one of them defaults, what's your default rate? 50%. If you have 1,000 and 10% of them default, what's your default rate? 10%, that was a trick question. Okay? So what we did is we took a subprime and we bundled a whole bunch of them together. Okay, on Bear Stearns, I bunch them all together. I sell them to Linda because I got S&P to grade them from subprime to AAA. Okay, and then she bought them, borrowed the money from me to buy them. Okay, and I used that debt as collateral to buy somebody else's toxic debt. And we did that up to 30 times. 30 times. Okay, so now we have a 10% default rate with a 30% leverage. What's the number? This is difficult math. 300%.
That's right.
It just falls apart. It just falls apart, and that's what happened. That's the derivatives market. Is packaging things and selling pieces of them. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? But people were being rewarded for doing it poorly and taking advantage of the situation.
And then when they did it poorly and it fell apart, the government bails them out.
Right.
You know, the
And
way
they kept
markets,
their
well, the way
bonus.
markets work, you know, I do something stupid, I lose money, I'm out of business. I mean, that's the way markets work, okay? That's how we clean out stupid people out of the marketplace. All right, that's the cleaning. And I bring up something that I remember when I was teaching and when Bill Clinton was in office. Clinton came out one time and said, you know, the problem with the mortgage of the lenders is we're not making enough character loans. We need to quit looking at people's income and their assets. If you're a good person, you need to buy a home, we ought to give you a home. He said, we need to be making loans based solely on your character. And I remember saying to my students, some of them who were here remember me saying this, I'm saying, you know the problem when you make a character loan is occasionally you lend to a character. Okay? The reality is it's still got to be based on you've got income, you've got your credit history, you've got, you know, tangible things. Okay? You cannot make a loan based on well, real estate prices just keep going up. Nothing keeps going up. Things go up, things go down, things go up, things go down. Okay? To sit there and say, well, you don't have the income, but boy, you know, this is in a part of town that's substantively minority, and we want to have more home ownership. You know, there are many places in this world where home ownership is a minority position. In other words, less than 50% of the population owns their own home. That doesn't mean they're non-functional places. Okay? I mean, I'd love to have everybody own their own home, but that's probably not a realistic goal. It's absolutely. Thank you. That's a very good way of putting it.
We'll be around for
It's
questions.
a privilege, not a right.
Well, we'll be around for questions. I'm sorry, we're just out of time.
No, okay, go ahead.
I want to finish. Huh?
Fannie and Freddie bundled a lot of these toxic mortgages and sold them
Sure.
to.
Yeah, they're not immune to everybody else making money. Yeah.
And not Goldman Sachs.
And the new financial rate reform bill that's in the Senate doesn't even address Fannie and Freddie. So I mean, excuse me, how can you say this is somehow designed to solve a problem when you don't address those?
And then the internet's on it too.
Yeah.
Oh, everything.
How many people have heard my show? I'm sorry, we got to cut.
WSPD.
13
7
seconds.
a.m.
Okay, how many have heard it?
7 a.m.
Okay, less than one. How many actually listen to it? There's a difference. What is my favorite car that Pat Bryan keeps bringing up?
I know because I know the guy that answered it in the last
Oh,
session.
You're disqualified.
$1 million only worth
You're disqualified.
Do you go?
Yeah.
Nobody? My gosh.
How about you go?
No, you go.
Okay, we're gonna take you out
What did you
back.
say?
Beat you up.
55. She said a Chevy.
Who said a Chevy? That's not 55, but I'll give it to you.
Okay, show her what you give.
It's a 69. We're gonna make you a